with a context both international and national of things in constant flux, a loss of legitimacy institutionally, both nationally and globally, and the rise of an alternative center of power in the BRICS and other related organizations, the U.S. finds itself in an unprecedented position of fluidity coming into a presidential election that promises to also feature many unprecedented elements. The world is a-changing right before our very eyes, and we discussed that and the coming presidential election with Professor Tony Monteiro of the Saturday Free School in Philadelphia. Tony, let's just do a deep dive into this.
Well, let me just start with the situation in Gaza and the Middle East, because I think this is something extraordinary has happened on the global scale. And by that, I'm saying that I don't believe we've ever seen this decisive break with the United States and Israel, but essentially the United States that we're seeing now.
Agreed.
The world as such has literally broken completely with the United States. Well, let me not say completely, because you still have the dollar and all that goes on with that. But politically, the world has realigned and is realigning itself away from what for many years was the hegemon, the dominant superpower in the world. And I don't think that this will be reversed. So we're looking at a new world, politically and ultimately economically. This is also reflected, interestingly, in the United States and among the American people, where what we are looking at, and this is going to be a very complex process. It's not going to look like many people think it should look like. The aesthetics of it is not going to be politically satisfying to everybody. However, a major political realignment is occurring in the United States, where what was considered left at one time can't be taken as being left these days. And what was right or conservative at one time cannot be considered that any longer. We're looking at new identities, new definitions, new alliances, and so on.
And contradictions all around, really, right?
Say that again?
Contradictions everywhere, too.
Yeah, contradictions everywhere. However, there is a direction to all of this. And I think the direction is away from war. And this is huge. Yeah. For example, one poll showed that young people between the ages of 18 and 29, only 9% of them are willing to serve in the Army. I saw another poll which said that 70% of people polled said they would not join the military to fight for their country.
And this is at a time of like massive unemployment and very few other opportunities for them, too.
Well, that's
the
true.
draft isn't even working.
That's true. That's true. And especially when you don't have a draft, and I don't think this country can ever reinstitute a draft. The American people no longer see the other nations of the world, be they Saudi Arabia or be they Egypt or be they the Palestinians or be they China or Russia. American people do not accept the ruling class narrative that these are our enemies. Right. I think the rupture with the past is so great that we could see the collapse of the Israeli state in a matter of years from now.
Yep.
If not sooner.
Maybe weeks or something. It could just happen like bam.
Just like that. Because if this war ends, if a ceasefire is put in place, and that's a big possibility right now, the Netanyahu government does not have long to exist.
Hey, remember
Uh,
1989? Okay, remember how fast East
mhm.
Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, all those like fell over like in a matter of weeks, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that in a lot of ways is an analog for what could happen in Israel.
Yeah.
Now, what will happen in the United States? We're in an election year, a decisive election year. It's Trump and Biden. Neither Trump nor those who are running as independents, be they Cornel West or Robert F. Kennedy Jr., uh, or even Jill Stein, are completely what we want. However,
Right.
they do reflect a an upsurge, an uprising politically, and a rejection politically by the people of the ruling elite. And that's what this election is going to be about.
Right.
That's the objective side of it.
You know, looking at what just happened in Argentina, okay, they had two
Mhm.
rounds of elections there, like they do in many places. And the person who won, quote unquote, the first round was more or less the successor to the then present government, and won with 39%. But the second and third place candidates, but the aggregate of those two in the first round was 53 or 54%. And that ended up being expressed as almost 70% in the final election. So you have these 3 or 4 or 5 different trends of opposition here. The real story is that you have all of this opposition.
That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. And at one time, I used to speak of a triad of opposition. Trump, Kennedy, and Cornel West. But that seems to have filled out because now you have Jill Stein back in the race. You have the potential of a no labels candidate, but uh, whoever the personalities are, the key thing is what is going on among the people, and um, the fact that Trump, in spite of all of the efforts of the governing and ruling elite, he doesn't lose ground. He only gets stronger the more he's attacked by them. This is extraordinary. I don't think this has happened in any country in the modern period, uh, where an outsider who is targeted by all of the institutions of government and even finance and the media, such a candidate who is targeted gets stronger the more he is attacked. That has to be understood. The fact that young people have abandoned the Democratic Party, even in spite of issues such as abortion rights and other things, that young people have abandoned them. And that's pretty much over the question of war and peace. And I think here is something so extraordinary that we still don't fully understand it. The fact that Black voters are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. I would estimate that in the upcoming election, 30% of Black men who are Democrats will vote for Trump. I don't think the Democratic Party as a national party can exist without the Black vote. Already, in spite of what trade union leaders do and say, uh, the majority of working people have abandoned the Democratic Party and the leaders of the union movement. I think we're looking at something extraordinary. Uh, Nothing like it has been seen in the United States since 1854, and of course the 1860 election.
Mm-hmm.
The country will not be the same.
And as we see this happening, the warning of Gramsci, the old world is dying, the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. We got to keep an eye out for them, don't we?
Yes.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you for your time. We'll speak with you again next week or as soon as you have time for us.
Okay, take care, Don.
For KPFK, I'm Don DeBar.